do I still? Oh, that's why. I was like, why do I still have an echo?
Have you just been talking to yourself this whole time? Because you've been lit up on Discord the entire time.
No, I had everything ready on Discord to go, and then I unmuted myself once my stream hit 0.
Ah. By the way, you started your camera a little early. I finally saw that beautiful cue ball of a head of yours.
Yeah. About the only thing I can fucking do to it.
So how are you, good sir?
Good.
That's good to hear.
Always good.
That is really good to hear.
It says on your Twitch that it's my 4-month subversary.
Oh, well then let the world know. This will probably when the thing comes up.
Yeah.
So go ahead and click, share, and then hit enter, or you can type something, whichever.
You know what?
There we go.
Friends.
Oh, see, there's the alert.
All right, so the alert's a little long, but
yeah, this was actually like on Tuesday, but all
right. I think you did it early.
Maybe.
Like, I think you just resubbed early because it just came up. But yeah, thank you so much for subscribing to me for a third of a year. Jesus, we've been doing this shit for a while.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be the 7th Everything But Politics that we are actually recording.
So 2 months now?
Well, that's just of the ones we recorded, because I didn't start recording them for the first, month or more. So, yeah, I think it was... Yeah, we've been doing this over 2 months now. I think it's been 9 or 10 weeks now that we've been doing this shit.
Nice.
Look at us, being consistent, being adults.
I know, right?
Go ahead.
I said, who'd have thunk it?
Oh, shit. But, I have been trying to play more Call of Duty because, well... That's just...
I swear to God, I almost thought that was like a shameless plug for more merch with the coffee mug.
No, okay, so this is actually a Christmas present from a while ago. It is Batty Dog.
Because you were doing it so suspiciously, so let me just take a sip out of this magic.
Okay, I wasn't trying to be suspicious about it. After I added the creamer, it was really, really full. So I'm just trying to not drop it on myself or burn my crotch or, waste.
I know, it's just...
But anyway, so I've actually been told that I cannot return to a job site. I have been barred from returning to one of these specific job sites this past week.
Reason?
Okay, so I went in to do fiber like I always do. Okay,
beat up.
Apparently their Wi-Fi.
All right.
Okay, I say apparently because I don't actually touch their system. Okay, the only thing that I touch is a... Why'd you get quiet all of a sudden? Is it my end or your end that got quiet?
I'm still talking.
Let me... I think it's my headset, actually. But anyway. So I go to this job site, and I'm doing everything, and everything's fine. The girl there, in with the first, 5 seconds of conversation, brings up her boyfriend. I'm, thinking in my head, I'm like, bitch, I'm not hitting on you. So, it was, something just totally random. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is, this is what I'm doing here. I'm gonna need access to your server room. And it was, something like, yeah, my boyfriend was gonna come over and work in the server room, but we hired you guys instead. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you didn't hire us, but all right, whatever. Okay. I am there to do stuff for Spectrum. That's the company that I work for, Spectrum. Spectrum gives out the jobs. Her boyfriend could not have done this shit if he wanted to, because he doesn't have... even if he had all of the equipment, he doesn't have what wavelengths this job is going to be on. So there are there are 8 wavelengths, and then there are 40 channels. And it could be on any 24 of these things.
So it's definitely something that you have to have knowledge in. And
well, you just have to have something from Spectrum. Basically, they're saying, okay, this is...
It's on their system specifically.
Yes. So let's just say that you have channels. Do you know how, like, the old walkie-talkies, you would go between channels?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just imagine all of those channels being totally silent until they're ready to use it, and you having to guess which of the channels it happens to be. So, like, it just doesn't happen. So, whatever. The chick had no idea what she was talking about. I think she was just trying to make it to where people weren't hitting on her. I wouldn't have hit on her anyway. Not because she wasn't my type or anything like that, because honestly, she just wasn't cute. And she just... Her name is Robin, but she came off as a Karen.
Oh, dear.
By the way, have you ever met a Robin that isn't a redhead? Because I did, finally.
I don't think I've actually met a Robin.
Really?
Yeah. So, as you suspiciously do another shameless plug.
Yeah, actually, it's not even merch. Like, that's not even on the site. I guess it could be.
Let me fix my cans here.
Demonetization coming up.
Yeah, and this psoriasis cream for those at home that have psoriasis, plaque psoriasis. This shit's magic. So
it's like, please sponsor me.
Pretty much. I'd love to get your shit for free.
You and your fucking Men's Warehouse just banner in the background, and
yeah, I was actually telling Weapon that last night that he came across some like skin type while he was doing a sculpting, and he's like, "Oh, this looks weird," and I'm like, "Yeah, it looks like my leg. It's called psoriasis." He's like, "Oh shit, you have that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Anyway, chick thought she was hitting on chick thought you were hitting on her.
Yes. So anyway, so I go in there and I start doing the work, and I am done with about 70% of the work. All right, I have to start splicing. In order to splice, I have to plug my fusion splicer into a power source of some kind. So they have 4 outlets. All of them are taken. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. We'll look around because it's a small server room. There's probably something else. Right. So they have some stuff is directly plugged in, but 2 of the things, one is a power strip that went up onto the top of it that was completely full and like zip tied to the rack, and it was just like, I couldn't reach it. Okay, fine, not using that one. Then there was one of their power supplies that was plugged in, and then another power supply was plugged into that one that they had stuff feeding out of. I'm like, I don't know why you would daisy chain like that, but okay, fine. So the one that was daisy chained actually had an outlet right on the front of it. Okay, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I plug in, I start doing my work, and all of a sudden my machine turns off. And I look over, and that power supply, whatever it was, had totally shut off.
It overloaded.
I have no idea.
When you daisy chain power supplies like that, dude, you're okay. So was it like an APC battery backup, or was it like a surge protector?
So I'm not actually sure, and even if it was a battery backup, their Wi-Fi was plugged into it. That is not something that you primarily plug a Wi-Fi into.
Oh, okay. So I understand the concept behind that, but go ahead.
Okay,
we'll return to that.
The thing was only plugged into that, and then the other thing that was plugged into it was their actual server, their computer server. All right, with the monitor and everything else. By the way, the monitor was actually plugged into the back of the CPU. So these guys are fucking idiots, right?
Yeah.
By the way, it's housing for USC, if anyone wants to know. Over off of 30th Street. I hate you people. But anyway, not actually attached to the college, but so they come in and they're like, hey, you didn't let us know that our Wi-Fi was going to go down. I'm like, well, that's because your Wi-Fi shouldn't be down. Like, I am not touching your Wi-Fi at all whatsoever. And the guy comes in and he starts unplugging and plugging things back in, trying to figure out what's going on. Like, just randomly, just whatever. And
like, dude, you should know what it's fucking plugged into, but
oh no, it wasn't an IT guy or anything like that. It was just someone.
It's common sense.
So the dude's just unplugging and plugging things back in however the hell he pleases. And I'm over and I'm testing my job. I'm actually getting it ready to leave. And he's like, oh, is there anything you can do? And I'm like, no, I have no idea. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not an installer. I don't know anything about your guys' Wi-Fi systems. Also, it's AT&T. So even if I told him, like, even if I did know something about your guys' Wi-Fi system, I'm not going to touch it. It's not even
It's a liability.
It's not even Spectrum's.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, not a problem. I'm gonna try to figure out what's going on. So he gets his whatever that unit is back up and running. And he's like, I'm gonna go check to see if the Wi-Fi is working. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finish up testing here. I've got about 5 minutes left. Okay, so he walks outside. I finish up what I'm doing. I go outside and I meet him outside and I talk to him for about like 15 minutes. Let him know, hey, the testing didn't go through. I'm gonna have to come back. It's nothing on your guys' side, it's something on Spectrum's side. As I go back to the front office, Robin is there. And she is just fucking pissed. She's like, what'd you do to our Wi-Fi? And I'm like, I didn't do anything to your... You did something to it. It was you. And I'm like, okay. I didn't touch your Wi-Fi. I've worked here for 2 years and this has never happened. I'm like, you know what? I'm like,
not gonna win this.
hey, creation. And so I'm like, look, if there's any questions that I can answer before I leave, let me know. Otherwise, everything that I came in here to do is done. I'm calling maintenance. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. Is there anything that I can do for you guys? Do you guys have any other questions before I take off? And she just gets on the phone and starts ignoring me. I'm like, okay, right. Whatever. Right. So I'm about to like leave, right? And she's like, what's your number? What's your name? And I'm like, well, I've already told you my name. That's when I first got here. You know, here's my number. She's like, what's your supervisor's number? Okay, well, here's my supervisor's number. Well, I just got off the phone with maintenance. Okay. Like, at this point, I tried to explain to her, and I'm like, look, I don't know what happened to your Wi-Fi. I can go back there and show you exactly what I've done. My cable does not touch anything that is active. Like, I am not doing anything. Well, it's your fault. You did this.
Trying to find an excuse.
Just keeps going and keeps going. And finally, I'm like, you know what? I don't know anything about that. I don't work on that stuff. That is not my part. She tries cutting me off again, and I'm like, ma'am, I do not do that part of it. I am not an installer. You would not ask your plumber to work on your water pump in your car. Yes, they both have water in it. You would not ask them to work on your water pump. And she starts walking away from me at this point.
And she beats you to it.
Okay, fine. So I go out to my car, right? She's standing there by the gate. Like, so I'm in an underground parking structure that you need a remote in order to get out of.
I like how Weapon was not in that part of, like, in the part of the stream where we said this Robin should have been a Karen, and he's like, there's no cure for Karenism.
It's a thing at this point. Like, there's just no way to not do it. But anyway,
there's not.
So, excuse me. So
I got 2 metal bookmarks.
I'm getting ready to leave, right? And she has to actually open the gate for me to leave. It's a secure underground parking structure where you have to have a remote to get in or get out.
Right.
Fine. So I cannot leave without her letting me out. She opens the gate, and as I'm pulling out, I'm expecting her to be like right there and she's not there. She's like walked away. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So I drive off. I get a call about 10 minutes later from my supervisor saying, you know, I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Because there's enough.
I hate that word. But okay, 3 mental bookmarks.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep up.
Okay. So about 10 minutes later, I get a call from my supervisor, and he's just like, and I'd already called him up, and I let him know, hey, I'm like, I don't know what happened. They're blaming me for their Wi-Fi going down. He's like, well, what'd you do? And I told him exactly what I did. I'm like, I plugged into a power supply because every other available outlet was taken. So, by the way, in order to get power, I actually had to go into the parking structure. Like, so I had to go all the way out and around, open up a door to get into the parking structure, to plug into something in there, and run a 50-foot extension cord into this room. Okay? Part of their whole thing is that they actually have to supply power because the unit that we're going to be installing uses power. Fine, whatever. So I tell him what's going on. He's like, okay, fine. He's just like, dude, they just called me. I'm like, okay. And they're like, well...
Surprise.
They are pissed because you just left without saying anything. And I'm like... If I left without saying anything, how do they have your number? And he's like, well, what did you... It's like, what'd you say? And I'm like, she kept cutting me off, and I finally told her, I'm like, I'm not an installer. I don't know what to do here. If you have any questions about fiber, I can answer them. Otherwise, I can't help you. And so she just pissed off. And I'm like, look, if I need to, I'll go back. I'll explain it to him again. I'll show him again. I have no problem doing all of this stuff. I'm going to bill because this is not my thing. And they'll probably end up getting a bill in return, but I can't do anything about this. And he's like, well, I just got a text from them saying that they don't want you coming back to the premise. I'm like, good. You get to deal with their bitch ass then. I don't have to. He's like, you're going to have to go back there and test. I'm like, I can't. They've kicked me off the property. And he's just like, I'm like, if you want to fire me, you can, but then you're going to have to go back and do the testing anyway. He's like, you're an asshole. All right, mental.
One way or another, you're going back.
Pretty much. All right, mental bookmark number 1. Go for it.
All right, so mental bookmark number 1. First off, as a general rule, you never daisy chain anything other than, like, the best thing you could probably daisy chain is like router switches. All right, it's not the most ideal thing to do, but yeah, it could be done. And in some cases, you have to do it with the primary router.
Okay.
All right, that's fine. But when it comes to power supplies and surge protectors, no. As a common sense like practice, you do not daisy chain that shit. All right.
So again, it was plugged into the wall to a power supply of some kind, or a surge protector, whatever it was.
Okay.
Went to another one up above it. That one had 2 things plugged into it. One of them went up to the CPU that then had the monitor plugged into that one as well.
What you can get away with is you can put a surge protector on an APC battery backup. You can do that. It's just you, again, run the risk of overloading the battery backup. Now, I have, looking over here, this monstrosity, it is not the most ideal thing. If I were to do it my way, I'd be putting fucking Ethernet ports all over Joe's house. And it'd be a full-on rack mount, whatever. That's not happening, so this is the happy medium. Down there in that cabinet is an APC battery backup for this entire fucking thing, all right, including my TV. And both the Wi-Fi and the security system we have on here, is in the APC battery backup. And the reason why is it's a good idea to put your Wi-Fi system on an APC battery backup for the purpose of a security system that continuously records. So you can still access the information as long as you're on the Wi-Fi. Like if someone were to cut the power to the house, that's for like ADT systems back in the day that were based on landlines. That was the oldest trick in the book. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to break into the house, all you got to do is cut the landline, good to go.
Are we allowed to be talking about this stuff on stream? Because that's
public knowledge.
Okay.
So most things are based on wireless signals now, but the way you get around that is you cut the power to the entire thing. Now, some security companies will have their own built-in power supplies that will last a certain amount of time. But the compromise to that is getting an APC battery backup that will last you 6 to 8 hours. Mm-hmm. All right. And you plug in your security system to that, you plug in the Wi-Fi to that. And as long as you're still in the household, you'll still be able to access those cameras, provided those cameras on battery backups themselves or on some kind of independent power source.
Okay.
So that's one thing that I would do. I forgot what mental bookmark number 2 was.
Oh, it was probably the word you don't care for.
No. That's mental bookmark number 3. And mental bookmark number 2 was, so in your situation of dealing with a hostile fucking client, I would have just stated my case, and the minute I knew I was never going to get anywhere, I would have just said, okay, have a great day, walk away, and then I would actually be on the phone with the fucking supervisor before any of this happens, so that way they're not surprised.
No. I called him up. Like, I let him know before before they called him. But even still, here's the thing. Like, we have people that are asking Spectrum for my company and for me specifically to come out and do stuff.
Right. And here's the thing. You can explain things, and I dealt with this in the fucking government. You can explain things in the simplest of terms, and they're still not going to fucking get it. All right? So at the end of the day, all you can really do is state your case and then give your supervisor the heads up that, hey, this is going to happen, just letting you know. I've had my fair share of that, and I had one of my favorite superintendents. He now lives up in it's up north in California, but he works for NASA, and he loved the fact that I always gave him the heads up. And anytime I gave him the heads up, there was no reason for him to dig, so he always had my back on that.
Yep.
But the thing with in your situation is she kind of beat you to it, where she just walked away, and that would have gotten me riled up.
Oh, it's fine. Like, I don't care. You want to walk away? That's cool.
Yeah.
In my eyes, you walk away. In my eyes, you're considering the conversation done.
Yeah.
Fine.
But right. But I would have been it's like a breakup. I'm going to be the one to pull the punch first, because at that point, I'm not going to be the one that's feeling as bad about it. And on top of that, when I walk away first, it pisses them off even more.
That's the whole
kick out of that.
That's the whole thing, is that I was under the impression I was going to have to go back to that job at that point.
I would have let that's another reason why I would have called the supervisor first and be like, I don't think it's a good idea for me to come back here.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm the only, so we have 3 fiber crews. I'm the only one that works during the day. What I have to do has to be done between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m.
I still would have let the supervisor know, be like, hey, if you want to send me back, I don't have a problem doing that. Just know that this is a hostile client, so it's going to be a repeat of today.
In any case,
mental bookmark number 3 is the word cunt. So I hate the word cunt, but I am okay with it with 2 phrases. One is called an undercover cunt, and an out front or an upfront cunt. I can't remember which one it is, but basically it means undercover cunt. You're the kind of person that will save face in front of someone and then bury them behind their back.
Okay.
All right. An upfront cunt is someone that's just a bitch to your face, whether or not they can back it up. So in most situations, I have no problems with like being kind of an upfront cunt. I have no problems with that, because at least then you're bringing it to my fucking face.
So here's the funny thing about that particular word, and it is only the US that has a problem with it.
Yep.
Because
in England, it's just like a common phrase.
It's like me calling you an asshole anywhere else.
Is it England or Australia?
Both.
It's a common phrase. Is it?
Both. I mean, all of the Aussies, it's like you go out and you're hanging out with people, and you can either be like, basically, if you're, oh fuck, I wish Dodgy was on right now, or fucking Razor.
Wait, Joe's here.
Why, is Joe Aussie?
No, he lived in England for 10 years.
Oh, whatever. We don't care about them and their bad teeth.
No, he doesn't have bad teeth. He's born in Texas.
Queers and steers, and I don't see any horns.
I don't think he's watching, so we'll just leave it at that.
Ah.
He probably would have said something about your beard.
Well, that's fine. Do you know when I stopped giving a shit about someone's with rank wondering about what I do with my facial hair?
No, it's mostly out of jealousy, because he's still in and he can't grow a beard.
Oh, the poor thing. It's all right.
He hasn't declared paganism either. So
why is this?
You might have it flagged as a bad word or a not permitted word or something like that, or it could be an automated thing.
I mean, yeah, I was literally just about to bring up that one, but anyway, for the sake of Twitch, we are going to stop that part of the conversation because
it was an educational section.
Okay, so here's my big thing. All right, so the school that I used to teach at, right, Santa Sue. All right, they were doing the Laramie Project. Okay, are you familiar with the Laramie Project?
I remember it. I'm not. I need to be reminded of its overall premise.
Okay, so I forget the guy's name now, but there was an openly gay dude that was just beaten and left to die out in a field, and he ended up dying. And the whole thing was going out to the town of Laramie to figure out what happened and to get the backstory and the whole thing. And it was kind of a documentary. And then it became this whole thing about, it's this small town and things like that just don't happen here, but it does.
Right.
Anyway, and so Santa Sue wanted to do it. as a as a play.
Okay.
The theater teacher wanted to like really edit things down, like super edit things down, and I was just like, you really shouldn't. Not only should you not complete, it's like, and I do understand if you want to edit some things down, that's fine. But there are certain words that you should not be getting rid of, because the less you say them, the more power you give a word. It's almost like that Harry Potter Voldemort thing.
Yeah, it really dumbs things. It dumbs things down the more you use it. It increases its value the less you do.
Yeah,
So,
so
catching up on chat, Alex agrees, ditto on the word. And he's like, so like the movie Hot Fuzz.
Yeah. But anyway, so there's that whole thing, right? But the one word, and the thing is, it's like, and I am using this so that all of Twitch knows it was a line in a play. No, don't cancel me because it's a line in a play that high schools did.
Just do one of two things: either say this is for educational purposes only, or B, rhyme it with a word that sounds like it.
Lag it.
Okay.
Anyway. Here's the thing, all right? That particular word, okay? I am not fond of the term faggot at all whatsoever, okay?
Right.
Like, that is just not a term that I am comfortable using, just like I'm never going to use the N-word with a hard R. Like, that is just not something that I'm going to do. I won't even use it for educational purposes, because that'll get me canceled purely because I'm white. Right. I don't get it, but anyway. She was wondering if she should be cutting these things out, and I'm like, in all honesty, you should leave at least one of them in there, or several, and then go through the like historical references to it, as in like let's just take the N-word, and we will just call it the N-word. I don't know why I can call something the N-word when you know what it is, but yet I cannot say the N-word, and I'm gonna keep saying it with that emphasis. Because, do you know how to say black in Spanish?
Yeah, it's also in reference to the actual color.
That's negro.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's the same in French too.
And so it's like, there is a reason that these terms are there and they've been used. And the more you kind of like hold them back, and the more that you like shun these terms and everything else, like, the more taboo they become. And
well, it's a lot of it too is much of a double standard, because I am not.
You do know we're fucked because we're two white dudes talking about this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like anybody's gonna listen to two white dudes unless we go that direction. Unless we give them a reason to cancel us. But when it comes to something like that terminology in a play in a high school level, all right, so I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate. On one end, there's a lot of parents and relatives of the students that could be attending the play. Some of them could be of, depending on the play that you're doing, they could be of homosexuality orientation.
It was Santa Sue. So yes.
I'm just saying a school. I'm not saying Santa Sue.
Well,
all right.
Okay, go ahead. I have a mental bookmark now, so go ahead.
All right, go ahead. But there's going to be people in the audience that could easily take offense to it, or could violate certain statutes and policies that the school has in play, and you're not going to get around that. Hey, thanks for the follow. Evil Scully 86. What's up, man?
Scully, thank you for following Darren.
But on the flip side, it's good to have a little bit of shock value in a play to bring light to a particular subject. But on the flip side, why are they gonna cancel, that word in a play and still promote, the teaching of the Holocaust and Adolf Hitler?
Well,
because that has similar yet different contexts. And I'm all for keeping certain villains in history books, because those are poor points in humanity that we need to learn from.
So the entire play is pretty much based on the fact that this dude, just for being gay, was pretty much beaten to death and left out in the field to die. All right.
Right.
And for me to take away a word like that from a play that is based on this really does take away a lot from what the author intended. And it is actually against a lot of plays to not show the author's intent when doing it, because then it is no longer that person's play. You are now, in a sense, plagiarizing, or I mean, it's all right to do like a different interpretation of things as long as you are still showing author's intent.
Right. And it also, again, it depends on the school too. So it's like the correct answer, the happy compromise is if you're going to take away certain words that bring more light to the subject, then don't do the play at all. Because if it's going to dilute the whole purpose of the author's intent or the message that's getting across, then don't do it at all. Because there's no point in doing it if it's going to be dumbed down that way or watered down. On the flip side, you have principals in high schools like how we had, where it wouldn't allow programs like Grease or whatever, or anything that was like sexually provocative. But at the same time, I was Stefano the drunk as a 17-year-old. Now, granted, I was Stefano the drunk at 14.
Yeah.
In real life. So it's like I had experience in this. Yeah.
We do not condone underage drinking.
Yeah, I was a method actor.
But no, you actually touched on the bookmark that I had, which was do you remember going to D-Task and those festivals and things? Okay.
Oh God, yeah.
All right. There were high schools out there that were performing Chicago, that were performing Avenue Q, that were performing Rent.
For those playing the home game, tick mark. That's burlesque. It's very
Chicago is very sexual.
Provocative.
Rent is based on AIDS and heroin use. I mean, if you've ever seen Team America, literally, there's a song called Lease, and the song is Everyone Has AIDS.
Yep.
I thought that was a great song. I still actually sing it in my car sometimes. But
I got bored of their humor real fast.
What, Team America?
Matt Stone, Trey Parker.
Yes, but the fact that it was puppets and how great the puppet masters actually were in that. So even if you don't like it, you should go back and watch the making of, because it's insane seeing all these people lying on planks above the sets that they've built with these puppets and like working them and everything else, because every person is only using like one puppet, because they have like the body movements and everything else, but then the hand movement and the head with the other hand. Dude, it's insane watching it.
Anyway, your mental bookmark.
The whole thing was that the schools are holding such different standards for the same exact subjects when it comes to things like especially things like Chicago and Rent. Avenue Q, I did see. Did we lose Darren? We lost Darren. Yes, Weapon. That's the whole thing. Is that yep, I think Darren's back, at least in voice.
All right.
He's back. But no, and Weapon hit it on the head with the conversation illustrates just how arbitrary censorship is and why free speech is important.
Right.
And it's true. And I'm not saying that we should be doing, what was the thing that Daniel Radcliffe did? Aqueous? Basically, right after Harry Potter was done and Daniel Radcliffe, who played Harry Potter, turned like 18, he was in this show, I think it was called Aqueous or something like that, where he rode in on a white stallion completely naked. All right. So I don't think we should be doing that kind of stuff at a high school. Fine.
Well, all right. Outside of school level, to touch on the whole free speech thing.
Hashtag canceled.
Yeah, right.
You're a white guy that brought up freedom of speech. We're canceled.
I know, right? Actually, it was Weapon that's the white guy that brought up free speech.
Oh, so. Weapon, you've been canceled.
They're on to you. The whole thing about free speech, and yes, the arbitrary, the arbitrary censorship of free speech. The issue with that in general is free will is given to us by deity, government, and nature. You take any one of those away and you have control. All right. Free will inherently includes the ability to speak freely of the mind.
We brought this up last week.
I think we hinted at it. I don't think we actually talked about it because we were talking about your concern on following certain people.
No, that was a while ago.
I know, but we picked up that little feather last week. And when it comes to free speech, there has to be an acceptance for whatever speech comes your way, whether it's hate or love. And the reason why is if you prohibit anyone's ability to speak freely of the mind, you have to do it equally across the board. When you do it equally across the board, you have the ability to control a narrative. Operative word, control.
Yes.
So that's not taking away the deity. That's not taking away the nature. That's taking away the government side of free will. And that's the problem.
So
now, when it comes to high schools, there is a fine line to what is okay and what is not. And I would say for the most part with the exception of the last 5 years or so, I would say probably the last 20 some odd years, they kind of got right. I think in terms of teaching things like human sexuality and the Holocaust and all that shit, I think they did a pretty good job of like layering in as the grades you progressed.
Okay.
So at least that was my experience.
Going to chat. Schwartz. Creation, in my honest opinion, the problem is that a lot of free speech advocates, in quotes, we get online and it's just like to you, and we get online just like to use that as excuse for anti-Semitism and other horrible behaviors and claim, hey, it's free speech. There has to be a few limits because obvious some people don't know common sense. Schwartz, my response to that is that if someone wants to say something, like, I will defend anybody's right to say anything they want. It is just that there are going to be consequences for what you have said. So if
consequences for anything you do, both good and bad.
Yes. So, like, let's say that someone is saying something anti-Semitic. Let's say that someone is claiming white power or whatever it happens to be. If that video then gets to a boss or then gets to something, there will be consequences on it. Do I believe that that kind of stuff should be censored? Like I said, I am all for free speech. I am all for the ability to say what is on your mind. And by the way, the yelling fire in a crowded movie theater is protected by the First Amendment. You can still be charged, but it is under free speech because they tried charging someone that yelled fire in a crowded movie theater when there was a fire, and that law has been completely been struck down by the Supreme Court. Yeah. So that actually does not really exist anymore. There are punitive actions that can be taken, but it is more civil than it is criminal at this point. So, but that's the whole yelling fire thing. As far as all the other stuff goes, like I said, if people want to go out and they want to scream BLM, by all means, all right? I think it's an overcharged word and an overcharged idea at this point because you have people that are a part of BLM, a movement, which Black Lives Matter, and they want equal rights and equal opportunities and everything else. Fine. Okay. There is the organization BLM I am not for, because that is an organization that they've actually, some of the heads of it, one of them literally just bought a $1.4 million house in Calabasas.
With BLM funds.
With BLM funds.
Gotcha.
It is, they literally bought a house in an area that has like a 1.3% African American population.
Yep.
So
my counter to this person is pretty much 2 points. When it comes to the whole hate speech and free speech, the problem isn't people having hate speech using free speech as a defense. The problem is people blaming free speech for allowing hate speech. When you have people on one side trying to associate the two together, and that's what's wrong. So for someone to have hate in their free speech, that's their own choice. And like we were saying, there's consequences, both good and bad, for anything you choose to do. It's just you should have the right to choose to do it. All right. But on the same token, anytime you put color in front of your pride, white power, Black Lives Matter, you inherently become part of the problem.
So I had that conversation actually with Missa not too long ago, and it was the whole thing of, are you okay with the term Black Power? And she's like, well, yeah. I'm like, why? Like, you are very much, and we talked about, you are very much against the term white power.
Right.
And she's like, well, yeah, it's an ignorant thing. And I'm like, well, how is putting another color in front of it not ignorant? Like, I am all for having pride in your roots and where you come from and everything like that. If you want to have, like, African pride or Wakanda pride. Did you know that there were people out there that literally thought that Wakanda was a real place? And they were saying, look what happens when the white people don't keep us down? Like, these were actual statements, guys.
The internet is full of facts.
Oh, I love the internet and its stupid facts. But aside from that, so, and here's the funny thing, all right, Darren? We, as white individuals, we cannot say white power, okay? Or white pride.
No,
wrong. But we can say Irish pride.
Wrong. All right. So I think what you're saying is a joke, but you do have the choice to say white power. You do have the choice to say Black power. You have the choice to say Asian power. Are there going to be consequences, good and bad, for saying any one of those? Absolutely. All right. But taking away the ability to say any one of those, that's the issue. So, and if you take away any, it's kind of like, Joe was talking about it the other day. He's like, how do you turn a liberal into a conservative? Take away their security.
I actually had that conversation with Missa the other night also.
Yeah.
I'm slowly trying to actually get away from politics, but we're slowly getting deeper into it.
Yeah. It's everything but sometimes politics. So this is the sometimes.
The entire stream was sometimes last time. Like
there was a purpose to that.
All right, go ahead.
But no, take away the security. It's like the whole defund the police movement. All right, cool. Just for science, pick a city and take away the police department. Find out what happens. Because last time I checked, the 5 points was the reason we needed a stable fucking system. So, aside from all the reasons that we needed this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, one of them is a valid police system. What would happen if you take away the police from major districts like Minneapolis is you would turn it into a military state. Because all of a sudden the Democrats would be like, oh shit, we need security because crime's through the fucking roof.
So since the defund the police movement has started and the actual defunding of the police has happened, homicide has gone up by 33% nationwide. Minneapolis has actually spent more on their police force than what their defunding did in order to curb the violence that happened out there after they had to reinstate the police after shutting down certain departments.
Again, it's just people don't know what it is they're asking for. And when the shoe's on the other foot and all of a sudden doesn't fit your fucking narrative, not the narrative, it doesn't fit your fucking narrative, all of a sudden you have a problem with it, but this is exactly what you asked for. And the same thing goes with free speech. If I don't have the ability to have the choice to say what it is I want to say, but that's the banner I've been toting for the last fucking 5 years, might want to rethink your fucking priorities and rethink your narrative. And what has always happened in history, and this is why we're doomed to repeat it, is the fact that we don't learn these lessons until it's already too late. So by definition, in political philosophy, the United States is doomed to fail We're not getting past that. If you were to do like an axis of like forms of governments, like I think on the top you have aristocracy, and then you have a free society, and then on the horizontal line you have all the forms that we're used to. We're like somewhere in the middle, and you either crumble and start over somewhere, or you move along the axis. And the next logical step is socialism, but we're too big of a country to be socialist. So like that, we would be communist.
We also don't have enough people that are willing to go along with socialism.
You would have that's the issue is you would absolutely have resistance.
Well, it's not just that. It's like, okay, so if you're going to get paid the same amount of money to be a doctor or drive an Uber, what are you going to do?
Oh, well, we're touching on the government free education. I definitively won an argument with someone on that. His argument was wouldn't be nice if there was more doctors and nurses in the world. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So cool. Let's say education is paid for all the way up to the doctorate, and you got to take anatomy final.
Okay.
And you fail it. All right, it's free. Just take it again. All right, fail it. All right, take it again. And let's say you repeat the cycle like 6 fucking times, and you finally pass it. Does that make you a good doctor?
So there's actually a OChem, right? Organic chemistry, which is required for a lot of medical degrees, bioengineers, and stuff like that, right? There was a class. It was one of, I think, Merce's friends was in a class that had a curve on the testing. The class is apparently so difficult that the curve was set down to 65% was the new 100% mark for grading on a curve. And I was like, no, that means that either A, the students don't understand the topic, B, there's a really bad instructor, or C, this should not be a single class, but should be broken up into multiple classes, focusing on different things. If you're passing, like if you're resetting your curve at a 65% to your 100%, no, you have failed the class, the students, who whatever it happens to be.
You're doing them a disservice.
That is a failure in my eyes. Yeah. Now, there were other teachers, like my chemistry teacher in high school, right? He graded on a set curve. He's like, chem's hard, I get it. So instead of D being 60%, it was 50%. And he slightly curved things to where each of the things was like 15% or 14% rather than 10. So an A went down to like 87% or something like that.
Right.
I'm okay with this.
At the end of the day, okay, so I'm, to avoid sounding like a hypocrite, I'm 100% the type of person where repetition is one of the things that I kind of need to master something. And I would say that's probably the case for most people. But when it comes to education, this is why at the high school level you have the private and the public versions of it. That's fine, that's whatever, right? But when you hit the collegiate level, like the undergraduate, the graduate, and the doctoral, 100% those should be what's it called, for-profit institution. The reason why is when the student pays for it, whether or not they get it by grant or whatever, and I'm kind of against parents paying for it, but when it comes by grant, scholarship, whatever, if the student is paying for it, you have an incentive to pass, because it's kind of like a restaurant. I'm going to pay $12. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay more than $12 fucking dollars for a burger. All right.
What about the $6 burger that's now $8 from Carl's?
Oh, Carl's Jr.'s trash. Don't get me started on that.
So did you notice that they stopped calling everything $6 burgers? They're now thick burgers.
And it's called inflation.
Because because all their burgers are now like $8 instead of the why would you go somewhere else and pay more money? Why not come here and get a burger that's $3?
Can't call it a $6 burger if they charge $8. So it's an advertising issue.
Well, they used to call it a $6.
Carl's Jr.'s trash. Carl's Jr.'s trash.
Oh, I like Carl's. Sponsor me.
Garbage.
Oh.
The habit is where it's at for burgers. Anyway,
They don't have drive-thrus normally.
I know they don't. That's sad. But their drive-throughs would be fucking packed left and right, like Farmer Boys, in and out. But anyway, you go to a restaurant, you pay $12 for a burger. All right, there's an incentive for that business to deliver the most delicious, flavorful, juicy fucking burger ever. Why? Because they're earning revenue for it.
Yep.
All right. When it comes to the collegiate system, it's kind of in reverse. I'm paying for people to say on paper that I'm fucking qualified. All right. And they're going to educate me to be qualified. So at the end of the day, I have an incentive to pass this the first fucking time.
There's actually the argument for the for-profits is that they have already made their money. They actually want people to retake classes.
Right. They absolutely do.
But at the same time, they also don't care because, like I said, they already have their money.
Some do, some don't. So there are certain, I want to say agencies or organizations that monitor the pass rate for certain students. All right. And this is why most colleges give you a timeline to achieve a degree. So the undergraduate in most colleges, I think the average is 5 to 7, depending on the type of college you go to. Once that expires, you have to reapply admission. All right. And yeah, they get kind of strict on that. I believe you can extend it out if you can show good faith. But yes, once they have your money, at a certain point in the semester, yes, they have your money. It's locked in. But those professors are also, unless the ones that are held on tenure, that's different. But those professors are paid by the students' enrollment to the course, so they have an incentive to pass them. And if those students don't achieve a certain pass rate, then that gets reflected on the professor, regardless of what surveys say. So
I just use Rate My Professor for everything.
That's why it's better to keep it on a for-profit or private institution. Now, the argument people logically make, well, college is too fucking expensive. You're right. But what colleges are you fucking looking at? All right. Because in economics 101, if this one costs too much, go to this one. Price is cheaper. Now we have supply and demand. So now the demand's coming down here. Oh, we don't have as many students and we can't afford our expenses. So we'll bring down the price to make it more attractive. That's how it fucking works. Capitalism fucking works.
Except it doesn't work that way. I wish it did. Because actually Moorpark is a great idea. Like, it's the perfect example of it. Because it had all those other colleges around. And Moorpark was a pretty new college when we were in high school.
The veins are coming out.
I know.
People are stupid.
But what ends up happening is you don't want to go to Pierce. You don't want to go to Ventura or whatever it is over here. So you go to Moorpark, which used to be $6 a credit. And then what happens?
The Apollo High School for junior colleges.
And what happens? They raise their prices, continue to raise their prices, because they now have all these students coming in, and now they know that they can actually compete with these other schools. The other schools did not lower their prices. They've since raised their prices more.
Okay.
Because Moorpark has raised their prices more.
Okay, you might have proved my point. So a lot of people enrolled at Moorpark College because, and I am a Moorpark College alum with my Associates of Science and Management. All right. Everyone goes
a liberal arts degree?
No, it's a management degree.
Oh, okay.
So I go to Moorpark because everyone else is doing it because it's cheaper, right? And Moorpark says, "Oh fuck, we have too many students, so we need to probably raise the prices so we can build more classrooms to accommodate this influx of fucking students." A lot of them are probably on grants. Don't give me the fucking excuse. Whatever. We have a high enrollment. We need to up the price so that way we can accommodate. Cool. Makes sense. Now the price is the same as, say, Pierce. I'm not going to go to CLU because that's a different animal.
That is a private church school.
Yeah. But let's say their price is the same as Pierce, like you said. Okay, now the price is the same. Do I go to a junior college or an actual college if the price is the same? Mind blown.
Well, what I was getting at is that...
And again, so now let's flip it around. Let's say Moorpark charged more than Pierce.
Which they did at one point.
Cool. What are you going to do? You're going to go with the cheaper one, right? Supply and demand.
Well, I mean, me personally, I just stuck with Moorpark because I was already there with all my shit, even though the other one was cheaper.
Oh, hell no. I would have transferred my ass.
Oh, and then half the credits don't transfer and blah blah blah. Yeah, whatever.
That's fine. So so the credit transferring is a different issue because I ran into that myself. I went to University of Laverne for my undergrad. I actually, they pissed me off at first for that very reason. That was the transfer shit.
Yep.
But fell in love with the institution. All right. Literally after my first semester. They what ended up happening is Moorpark's courses that I took to transfer to my undergrad did not correlate to the shit that was required for the undergrad.
Yep.
And to me, that was like, all right, so you already have my money, it's locked in. That's basically just highway robbery. Whatever. That's like, I don't even know how to compare that, but I could probably think of something, but I need a break. But anyway, I go to ULV and yeah, it's 2 to 3 times the cost of what Moorpark was per unit. But I look at it and every teacher that I came across taught in the positions they currently work in. Like my oral communications teacher, speech, basically. He was head of HR at LADWP. Brilliant fucking guy. My legal environment of business and my business ethics teacher had a Juris Doctorate in 2 countries.
So here's the thing for me is that so I did criminal justice and psychology. Okay, at Moorpark. And the criminal justice department at Moorpark is actually pretty renowned. Like the people that are working there and everything else. A former FBI agent, the first female patrol officer out in Oxnard. She's also the firearms instructor now for the Ventura County Sheriff. Nice. Undercover Vice or former Undercover Vice.
Great quality teachers.
Well, that was the whole thing, is that so there were a bunch of other teachers that, you know, they were just looking for cash, I guess. I don't know. But
supplemental income.
Yes.
Well, okay, so there's supplemental income or requirement towards master's or doctoral. I did have one teacher, and that was my management information systems teacher, which is a requirement for almost all business or finance degrees. She had to teach that course as a requirement, I think, for her MBA. So that it could be one of the two, and I think they still get paid for it. They just don't get paid as much.
Well, they're being paid with experience, right? They're just adult interns.
Pretty much. And what's funny is, I think with me in my class, we were her first. I think you have to do it for a full year. And I used to teach at World Music, and I used to teach guitar, and that was a one-on-one session. But in, I think, 8th grade, I was invited to teach the guitar course at Valley View in 8th grade, like the grade I was in. And I'm like, well, let me check it out first. And I saw 60 fucking kids in there trying to tune a fucking guitar. And I just looked at the teacher and I'm like, you got to be shitting me. Oh. I walked right out. I'm like, you have one person sending out information being divided by 60 fucking minds. Yeah. Not to mention trying to get everybody tuned correctly.
And she wasn't even, because I actually took guitar in Valley View, and she wasn't even good at guitar. She was the failed choir director.
Jesus.
What? I'm sorry. I will call it as I see it. She was a failed choir director.
My MIS class, dude, that was so much fun. We did a thing at the very end. I forget what it's called, but the normal MIS classes, ours was expedited.
Okay.
They take students from different colleges and they book them for a weekend at some hotel or whatever.
Okay.
And then they use the conference room, or, you know, it's like expo size that they section out for them.
Okay.
And they basically compartmentalize everybody into different organizations, and they throw situations at all of them. Like the UCLA group will do an acquisition of the UCSB group, and you have to finalize the sale and make it in accordance with the financial regulations. Blah blah blah. They go to the T. Ours was very expedited, but she did it with us, and it was 2 organizations, and I got named as CEO for one of them. And oh my God, that teacher dicked with me left and fucking right. She's like, you did really good on the quick decisions that you needed to make. As it turns out, the companies we were portraying was Nintendo and Sega.
And now we all know where Darren peaked in his life as the CEO of a made-up company.
Yeah, I was Nintendo, and I went to jail.
The absolute peak of your life. All right, not a problem.
Be right back.
Yep. Oh. Yeah, guys, like I said, I am trying to steer Darren away from politics. It is not working.
How is it not working?
Because you keep like trying to drive us back into it.
Not you. Someone brought it up in chat, and I'm like, all right. All right, I'll be right back.
I think that conversation might have actually lost me a follower or two. But as with life, things happen. People come, people go. Alright, Alex, where did those things come from? Scalp Grogu. Nope, I don't have it. What do you mean they play tonight? Oh, alright. Yeah, just wondering where some of these things come from. Alright. So what is she, what part is she playing? Is she Belle? Is she Mrs. Potts? Tell me she's Chip. Favorite character in that thing is Chip. But, yeah, guys. It's, let's see. It's okay. I'm very chill with that stuff. So, Schwartz, here's my thing about all of it. I'm, like I said, my biggest thing is that I like to hold everybody to the same standards. It does not matter race, creed, religion. I hold everybody to the same standards. I understand that some religions won't eat something, so I'm not gonna, have ham sandwiches for everyone especially if I know that there's gonna be some people that are like Orthodox, or if there are going to be some Muslims coming in. But what about the space laser? Yeah. But again, my whole thing is that, do I care about the things that are going on in Israel right now? Absolutely. The things between Israel and Pakistan and a lot of that stuff, and especially like the peace treaties that are kind of being pulled apart right now in the Middle East. Yes, I care about all of that kind of stuff. But will I support someone's ability to speak out about that, whether it is for or against? Absolutely. Because for everyone that has pride in something, there will be somebody that has hatred for it. And whether that's hatred in a good way or a bad way, because there is good hatred. Like, we can have hatred for Nazis. We can have hatred for white supremacists. Okay? So whether hatred is good or bad, I'm still going to be on that side of people should be allowed to voice their opinions. And if you want to say, well, you never should have, you shouldn't have been born. Okay, fine. Thank you. Oh, thank you. But no, those are okay. So as bad as it sounds, at this point in my life, I think I have more of an issue with SJWs than I do with neo-Nazis and like black what would be the black equivalent of it? I don't even want to call it Black Panthers at this point, but like the SJWs that just know absolutely nothing about something jumping in there and trying to cram things down people's throats, I'm just not for, you know. But yes, prejudice will always exist. I actually had this conversation with my girlfriend not too long ago that as humans, as much as it sucks, we are kind of wired to be prejudiced. I know people are going to be like, that's wrong, but it's not. It is literally within our DNA to be prejudiced against people that we don't know or things that we don't know. A perfect example would be if we had aliens come down, like, we'd be looking at them kind of weird, and we would be looking at them in a totally different way than we look at any people around. And until we actually get to the point that we consider ourselves a human race rather than white, black, brown, whatever, there will not be any kind of a weapon. That's kind of what I was getting at. It is tribalism. And for people to ignore that fact, like I said, guys, it sucks, all right? And I can get along with most people. I'm going to say most because a lot of people, like you heard about my story about Robin earlier, she's just a bitch. We will never see eye to eye. I just can't stand her. But that's the whole thing, is that once the human race realizes that there is something else out there that is not human, we will more than likely band together, and then it will be an us versus them, not an us versus us versus us versus us versus us, which is kind of what it is right now.
Okay.
I don't know, Darren, what do you think about that? That racism and everything will only really become a figment of the past if... oh, you can't hear me. Let's try this again. I'll wait for him.
There's only one way you'll get rid of racism. I think my shit's... Oh, there we go.
Okay, go for it. What is your way to get rid of racism? Ready, set, go.
Find life on another planet.
That's literally what I was just talking about.
Oh, okay.
That until... Go ahead.
Like we were saying earlier, I have no problem if you're born in Africa and you want to say you're African, cool. If you're born in America and you want to say you're American, cool. Born in France, you want to say you're French, cool. But the minute you put color in front of pride, you become part of the problem. No one's calling it the human race.
Michael Jackson did, and look where he ended up.
Yeah, overdosed on fucking propofol.
Homicide, do me a favor and send it to me in Discord, please. That way I can check it out before it goes out. And depending on what the video is, I might have to do something off stream about it.
All Expo Veins, I miss the days of the $1 spicy chicken sandwich. I concur.
They still have cheap chicken sandwiches, don't they?
No, even Jack in the Box is like $6 for the combo.
Well,
not even the combo. I think it's $6 for the fucking sandwich.
It's a $6 burger, huh?
Yeah. So I hate soda, but I do miss Crystal Clear Pepsi.
No.
I was a fan of it.
It was tonic water.
And PB Crisps, the graham cracker with the peanut butter filling.
Okay, that I'm good with. But Crystal Clear soda. So we actually went to high school with somebody that refused to drink anything that wasn't clear. That was her staple of I will only drink clear things. I don't know why. She was a little weird. Your grade, by the way, not mine. But
you'd have to send me the message in Discord on who it was.
I don't even remember which of like the 4 people it was. It was one of I'll send you the names. Not right now. It doesn't even matter. Like, but and so actually I do remember who it was. Hold on. It might I don't know.
Wow, maybe... Weapon. I have bad taste. So first off, this is not my go-to beer. This is just like water. All right.
I don't know, man. You're not go-to. You're about to be 4 in an hour and a half.
So
That's pretty go-to.
Pepsi was not my first choice in soda altogether. It was always Coca-Cola. But I haven't touched soda since before I was 19. So summer of 02. I think I've had it maybe twice, and it made me sick both times.
Yeah, thank you, Weapon. Fucking bad taste, all right?
Crystal Clear Pepsi was great.
No, it wasn't. It was...
Was it Sprite? No. But... Okay, so here's the challenge, everyone. Sprite or 7-Up?
Oh, okay, so when it comes to those types of things, it depends if it is flavored or not flavored. Okay, so what I mean by that is that I prefer normal Pepsi. Okay?
Okay.
But I also prefer vanilla Coke over vanilla Pepsi.
I could not do vanilla Coke.
I prefer Sprite on a normal thing, but I prefer cherry 7-Up over cherry Sprite.
I couldn't. So when it came to the sodas, couldn't do the diet shit. But let's just strike that. I also couldn't do any of the flavors. Again, when it comes to foods, I'm as basic bitch as you can get. And this includes drinks as well. So when it came to sodas, it was always Coca-Cola. If I were gonna do like the clear ones, it would have been Sprite
or Sierra Mist.
Sierra Mist was like if I don't have a choice. I wasn't opposed to it. It's like Verdansk, all right? There's places that I'm opposed to, there's places I like going to, and then there's the ones I'm neither here nor there.
So it all boils down to you only drink Bud Light from your tower.
Pretty much. But if I have the choice, it'll be Big Wave. Big Wave, great beer.
Okay, so where is Big Wave then in Verdansk for you? You can't call it the tower because the
tower.
You're building. No, you're building.
You said tower. Said tower.
I call it Trump Tower.
All right, whatever.
Okay.
All right.
But
what is my Big Wave other than the tower?
Well, no, because you go there so often and you drink Bud Light. That would mean, in my eyes, that is one and the same. No. That is your go-to in Verdansk. Your go-to.
Okay. Okay, I'll agree with that.
So then what is your Big Wave in Verdansk? What is the place above all else that you would rather be?
It's not really a specific place necessarily. It's being able to find a good amount of loot in a short amount of time, get to the loadout as fast as possible, and then get to a visible point where I can have good oversight of everything and just snipe as many people before the gas comes in. Or on the contrary, if it's a place that can be fairly predictable and where the gas is going to close up, that's where I'd rather be. And if the gas happens to shift, it happens to shift. You just roll with the tide on that.
So why don't we go to twins and quad buildings more often then?
We can. Again, it depends on what the circle favors.
The circle favors that area way over because that's much more center of the map.
Yeah, you could. The center of the map in general tends to be, kind of a good place to be in terms of final circle or close to the final circles. But Dr. Zeus would open a Pepsi and say, "Come on, Mom, I know you want the burn."
Yeah, my mom didn't like drinking whole Pepsis or anything like that, and so growing up, I would always just give her the first drink of the Pepsi or Coke or whatever it happened to be, because she had this weird thing where she does not drink while she eats.
All right.
So, like, she will start a meal and just not want anything to drink at all during her meal.
No, it depends on what I'm eating.
No, for her, it's never mattered. Just does not drink when she eats. It's really freaking weird. Yeah, I've always thought it was weird. So we just, whenever we would go out to eat somewhere, we would just, and he's gone. Darren.
Hey, you know what? 1 crash per hour, I'll take it.
Well, I mean, see, this is what's going to happen if Microsoft buys this shit. It's just going to be more crashing. But anyway, so...
actually...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh,
no, go ahead.
So growing up, when we would go out to eat, she just would never get a drink.
Okay.
Because it just wouldn't be worth it. She would fill it up like maybe once at most, and that would be the end of it. So we always just shared. But yeah, What were you about to say about your... You were just about to say something, and I cut you off.
Yeah, derailed.
All right.
So completely off topic, switching gears. Went back to the gym. Oh wait, hold on. Catch up on chat. Weapon, dude, a nice pizza and a classic Coke. I will one up you on that. A pizza and a good beer.
I don't drink beer.
Right.
I'm with Weapon.
All right, then yeah. When it came to pizza, it was all. If I didn't drink beer, it was always about Coca-Cola. However, once I stopped drinking soda, it was always about pizza and tea.
Tea?
Love ice. Oh, I love ice. I love tea of all kinds, except chai tea.
Well, tea is fine, but who the fuck drinks pizza, like, eats pizza with tea?
This guy.
Weapon, please back me up on this. Like, tea? Really?
I will go as far as to say some pizzas, it just really depends on the flavor that you're getting, because like the custom pizzas or whatever. Whiskey can go good with it.
Thank you. See, this is why we're friends.
That's your motherfucker. I've known you a long time. That's your fucking opinion. Love you.
Here's the thing, and I'm going to bring politics up one last time, real quick. As we know, you can have a right and a wrong opinion, and Darren, your opinion is wrong.
That's fine. That's your opinion.
Yes. But what was I going to say? It was my mom's laughing at it.
We try to be entertaining. No, what I was going to go completely off topic about. So I think it was 3 weeks ago I went back to the gym since they've been open for the first time. My God, if you want to know how out of shape you are, go to the gym after not having done it for over a year.
Kind of on topic with that. So one of my friends went to, I was actually in his wedding not too long ago. He's showing a picture of himself, and he's like, I'm, going to lose weight, posting a weight that he's at. Mm-hmm. And one of my other friends is like, you know what, I'll join you, and post his weight. And then my comment right underneath is, I'll watch you guys, here's my starting weight.
That's just mean.
So it was like...
That's cold even for like my standards of like 12 years ago. Weapon knows what I'm talking about.
But that was my thing, and I'm just like, so yeah, watching you guys. And so because of, and I'm going to thank chat for this actually, because of, I think, the water that they've been making me drink, between our Friday stream last week and Wednesday, I lost 5 pounds.
Yeah, that'll happen. That's so. What probably happened is you only stream other than the podcast.
Yep.
You only stream 2 days a week, and granted, they're probably like what, average 8 hours at a time.
Yep.
All right. So that's 8 hours of, depending on how many times per hour people are redeeming hydrate.
They can only do it 5 times in a stream, once every 30 minutes, once per person. I'm not stupid about this. I am not Michael.
So here's the question. Are you downing an entire bottle?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say they do it once per hour. All right. You're downing 8 bottles, and each of those bottles is what, 12 ounces?
Half liter.
Half a liter. All right. So you're well over, I think you're pretty close to 1.5 gallons if they were to do it once per hour.
That would be 8. So no, just slightly over a gallon. Because a gallon is 3.8.
Okay. So slightly over a gallon. The most ideal situation to be in is to do 1 gallon a day, especially if you're doing strenuous activity, because your body will naturally shed the water weight. But when you do it a little over 1 gallon, but only 2 days a week, then you're doing like the Hugh Jackman shit. And what he would do before a shoot is he would do like almost 2 gallons a day for like a week. And then the week before the shoot, he would, or like a couple days before the shoot, he would stop drinking water altogether. And you just piss it all out, and you basically wind up shedding the last of that water weight. So yeah, that actually does help. And it doesn't surprise me that you lost 5 pounds.
Yeah, in 3 days. So guys, thank you. You watching me suffer is but But no, seriously, like every time I do it, basically, you know how Dom
Streaming's good for your health.
It is actually. But no, I have like half a case of water behind me. Mrs. like wants to like keep stocking me up. But no, I set very specific limits on that whole thing. So an average person on a stream night can get about 2,000 points if they were to watch the entire stream as a sub.
Right.
Which means that they could technically redeem one of those pretty much once a week ish. And so it is limited to 1 redeem per person per stream. Cooldown of 30 minutes. Max of 5 redemptions during the stream.
That's not bad. And so anyway, I went back to the gym like 3 weeks ago, and I used to do heavy day and light day regiments, and then there's the shit that I'm doing right now. It's just to get back into the schedule. I think last week was my first time back on legs. I could not tell you how handicapped I felt just trying to get out of a fucking car, just trying to get into a car.
Yeah,
it was fucking brutal, but I'm so happy to be back in the gym.
How often are you going to be going?
I'm trying to get, so each week I'm adding another day. I'm trying to get back into 6 days a week, and then once I get to the 6th day, it's not that hard. Once I get to the 6th day, then I'm gonna try and incorporate the 2 days, and then work my way up to 6 days a week. So cardio in the morning, weight training in the afternoon. My workouts, if I were to do a full regiment, doesn't take me longer than 45 minutes to an hour. It's not that it's the worst hour of your life, but
yeah, why would you do the worst hour of your life 6 days a week, twice a day?
So most people are under the pretense of going to the gym to look good, right? Or to lose weight, whatever. My goal to going to the gym is sustainment. I want to be able to handle a particular situation and know how long I can handle it for. Because again, you have to account for shit like lactic acid, exhaustion. You have to account for that shit. So when I was going to the gym on the regular about a year ago, it was all about lifting heavy weights for a particular point in time and doing it for as long as I could until my body completely gave out. Then I would switch over to what's called light days. Light days is what you would do for toning. So if you wanted to get like ripped and cut or whatever, assuming you followed the diet specifically for that, it was mostly about lighter weights, more reps, more sets, but you take the time in completing them. There's what's called Crazy Eights by Arnold Schwarzenegger, where if you can do a 100-pound barbell curl, which is basically this motion, you do 30 pounds, right? You do something less than half the weight, but you take 8 seconds getting it up, 8-second hold, 8 seconds back down. You really fight the gravity coming back down. Literally by the 2nd set, you're screaming, and you do it anywhere between 3 and 8 times. So,
yeah,
but it's worth it, because what it'll end up happening is you start cutting deeper into that muscle, as opposed to bulking, which is like the heavy weights. And I wasn't necessarily about the bulking. It was just being able to, all right, I can withstand 210 pounds of force upon my chest for this amount of time. How do I increase that? Because I don't know, what dude I'm going to come up against. And people kind of scoffed at the idea of what I was doing it, but then you would have, active shooters in the hometown or certain incidents that would happen. So
I was going to say, you're getting ready for that zombie apocalypse, huh?
It's not the zombie apocalypse. It's the Civil War II that might happen.
You bringing it back to government and politics, damn you.
Right.
I've actually been saying, and in all honesty, I kind of thought that Trump might be the catalyst for the next Civil War. But
without scratching too much of the head of the politics, if I'm a billionaire in the 80s, or I'm sorry, a millionaire in the 80s, and I want to get to the Oval Office, but I can't get there right now. What am I going to do? Oh, look, over there. There's some politicians. I'm going to glad hand them, and I'm going to be a lobbyist so I can see what the dirt is like on this side of the fence. And then I'm going to get to know them personally and maybe even do a little business. So that way I can learn about who they really are. And I don't give a fuck what side of the aisle they're on. I just want to know how they fucking operate. And oh, look over there, there's a country. Maybe I'll expand my business over there so I can learn about foreign currency, foreign trade, foreign culture, foreign policy. Cool. Now it comes full circle into the presidency, and my crass ass ain't gonna fucking hold back. And now I'm just gonna say shit that a lot of other people are already thinking about, but so I've already said it, so now it's on the table. And he basically just didn't address anything that didn't already need addressing. It's just nobody addressed it in the manner that he did. And Truman was probably the closest to that. Because Truman was very, he didn't use very eloquent words, or he didn't try to bombard the United States with like political jargon or anything like that. Reagan was kind of close to that. Trump didn't. he just said exactly what was on his mind. And there's a lot of times when I was like, dude, you need to ease the fuck off Twitter, or just read from the transcript.
Got into another conversation with Missa. Like, a lot of the conversations that I bring up with you were things that I've talked about with my girlfriend.
Okay.
It's kind of like you having conversations with Joe, but he's the closest thing to a girlfriend you have right now. All right.
No.
Oh.
I mean, if you really want to go that direction, I could probably.
Is it me? Am I the closest thing to a girlfriend you have?
No, I mean, you're a vag, but no.
You talk. You do talk to me a lot. We spend a lot of time together. You have fucked me on multiple occasions, normally in game. Yeah, kind of.
At least what, 6 hours a week?
Yeah, and
that's not girlfriendish.
And oh, you know what? Absolutely, you even gave me an allowance this month.
Huh?
Yeah, it showed up. It showed up on the stream earlier when we first started.
Oh, the sub.
I got my monthly allowance from you.
Now don't spend that all in one place.
But so talking to Missa, I was just kind of wondering about how horrible of a mistake it was for the media to get rid of Trump. Like, their ratings have never been better. Their ratings were through the roof when Trump was in office.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense because so a celebrity, if there's a celebrity that you can think of that's not in the spotlight right now,
Hugh Jackman,
kind of off the grid. All right, Hugh Jackman, not in the spotlight right now.
All
right, outside of getting back into the groove of doing roles and shit that are not a typecast for you, and trying to branch out and basically try to pull a Jim Carrey.
Okay.
All right. Trying to go beyond what people expect you to be.
Okay.
What's the best way to get headlines?
A sex allegation.
Sure. What else?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of them. I don't know. Be a cop and pull a gun instead of a taser.
It's an open-ended answer, and the reason why it is because as long as you're in the headline, people are talking about you. So when it came to the news organizations, if they were talking about Trump, whether it was positive or negative, they were talking about Trump, and in that context, he wins.
Okay, I get that, right? But
yeah,
you're taking, like, it's actually already, since the election happened, all of the mainstream media has taken a huge hit in their, not just their popularity, but, well, their credibility was already shot. It's just, okay, so
again,
the entire...
Again, this is one of those things that was not already known, and he just brought it to light on the biggest stage of them all.
Okay, fine. So, but their credibility wasn't as bad because people wanted to believe the bad things about Trump. Okay? They wanted to believe it, that's fine. But the Trump supporters already had it out for the media. Fine. now you have their own people that are questioning their credibility and how they're doing stuff and everything else. They don't have that scapegoat. Why would you openly, like, get rid of your, like, biggest source of, like, income before it had to get out of there?
Weapons like, do I need to come in here and talk about pop culture again? Okay, so it's a perfect example of, you know, the house of cards falling upon itself, falling, you know, on top of itself.
That was a good series, by the way, on Netflix, guys. You should go watch it.
The House of Cards, yeah,
Yes.
the Kevin Spacey part.
Oh, you've seen it
before his bullshit.
Oh, so there's something you have seen.
I've seen clips.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Again, it's one of those things where it's like Trump brings it to light and people don't buy. There's a group of people that do, group of people that don't, group of people that don't care, whatever. And then all of a sudden now he's no longer in office, and now things start to unravel to kind of prove his point. And as a result, you have people defecting, you have people leaving, you have people changing political statuses, you have people leaving certain news organizations because of the hostile work environment, or, you know, the narrative that they're forced to comply to.
You're kind of arguing in favor of my point right now.
In a way, I am, but that doesn't necessarily discredit President Trump.
No. It's not that. It is just It's not even about Trump. It's literally the media, and why would you?
Their response to him.
It's not just that. Like, why would you actually, like, openly work against getting him out of office when he is the biggest thing to you at this point?
My biggest theory about all that: money.
But that's the thing, is that they're losing money now with him out of office. Again,
it was a double-edged sword for them. They probably had a lot of lobbyists invested interest in someone like Hillary Clinton taking office, a Democrat in general, but I'm just going to throw Hillary Clinton because that was 2016.
Sure, it wasn't Bernie.
Dude, that was such a predictable election. Bernie is a side story, but
Bernie got done dirty twice.
Oh, dude. When is that dude ever going to fucking learn his lesson? Stand your fucking ground or expose the shit to the light. But anyway, I'm not a fan of Bernie Sanders, but it's like, dude, that dude got fucked over.
Twice.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll be around for 2024?
It's a great question.
Do you think Biden will be around for 2024?
That's a great question. I'm a fan of President Trump, but not for the reasons people might suspect. If you want to know what they are, you can see the last podcast.
Oh, by the way, it's in the YouTube link down below. If you want to click on that, you can watch it in its entirety.
Yeah. But anyway, when it came to the media, like I was saying, as long as they're saying Trump's name, it doesn't matter if they're saying it positively or negatively, they're talking about him. And that's the point. As long as they are talking about him. How do you snuff the flame of someone whose flame needs to go out? You stop talking about them. And all of a sudden, they're no longer relevant. And that's how you deal with that situation. So what ended up happening is when Trump lost, arguably, when he lost, all of a sudden, the media couldn't get enough of the fact that he lost, and now they went on to something else. They had no other grounds to stand on because they spent the last 4 years talking about all this bullshit that wasn't even real.
Arguably 5.
All right. And now all of a sudden they had nothing else to talk about. They had nothing else relevant. But now when certain news situations come across, all of a sudden they're immediately taking a certain side to it or not even showing the story at all. And now people start realizing Obama was a perfect example of this. So when Obama first got elected in 2008, that was also a decisive election. 2016 was so easy to predict. 2012 was so easy to predict. 2008 was so easy to fucking predict. All right. When Obama got elected, it was a pretty definitive landslide, right? It was the first black president. You were breaking a lot of glasses. You know, it was cool. It was a feel-good moment. All right.
Did you really just use the term breaking a lot of glasses like they're at a
Glass ceilings.
Yeah,
That's a legit business term.
Yeah, glass ceilings, but breaking a bunch of glasses, I just imagine them at a Jewish wedding just stomping on shit.
Not Jewish, Greek, but okay. Oh, no, that is Jewish.
Damn! Schwartz, back me up here.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Anyway, so 2008 was a very predictable landslide election, all right?
I still think that it would have probably been better in the Democrats' opinion if they'd gone with Hillary and then Obama later.
No. That was specifically to tee up Hillary. But anyway.
Continue, I'll stop interrupting.
Well, no, because there's a bookmark there, and I'll come back to that. But in 2008, it was a landslide election, all right? And Obama made a lot of campaign promises. Now, whether or not I like a president, all right, is irrelevant of me. Oh, no, I'm watching the fucking chat, assholes. No, I'm not mixing metaphors again. Fuck you guys. Whether or not I like a president is irrelevant of the credit I will give them. And when it came to President Obama, yeah, he came through on a lot of campaign promises. Whether or not I agree with them, those campaign promises are a 100% open debate, just like Trump's. All right. But if you notice that all of his promises that he delivered on before 2012, when he goes up to re-election, he lost almost half his base. No, not mixing my metaphors. I actually corrected it, motherfuckers. All right. So anyway, did you even hear what I just said?
Yes.
Sure.
Sure. Yes, dear.
But anyway, in 2012, he lost almost half his base. Still got reelected, rightfully so, because his opponent was weak.
Yes.
Wasn't a fan of Mitt Romney from the get-go. But neither here nor there.
Couldn't even remember who ran, to be honest.
It was Mitt Romney.
Okay, thank you for...
Neither here nor there. Wasn't a fan of him, didn't care. Obama was getting reelected. I knew that.
Yes.
Right? But he lost half his base as a result of the decisions that he made with a legislature full of Democrats, a House full of Democrats, and an Oval Office as a Democrat.
Yes.
About the only thing he didn't have might have been the Supreme Court at that time.
I don't remember. Believe he did.
Scalia was always a flip-flopper. Great judge, but always a flip-flopper. He never took a fucking side specifically.
You know, and that's the whole thing, is that I actually have more respect for judges that, especially the justices that go back and forth across the aisle, than the ones that are just hard on party lines.
Not the sharpest crayon in the medicine cabinet, you asshole. First off, I'm sharper than you think. I just say the wrong cranberry.
That's all right. We're finishing each other's sandwiches.
Thanks, man. Anarchist chiming in too. But anyway, you have someone like Obama who lost half his base because the campaign promises that he delivered on failed to actually succeed in the overall long run. And so you have people that kind of understand, all right, the grass isn't greener on the other side. That's exactly what's happened in this past fucking year, is people are starting to realize, not even year, people are starting to realize that, okay, just because you believe Trump was wrong doesn't mean the Democrats as a whole were right, or the media as a whole was right. And yeah.
I agree.
I am not conservative. I am not Democrat. I am against all things stupid.
I think we talked about this already, but I am very much libertarian at this point.
Yeah.
Because, okay, guys, here's my whole thing. My whole thing with politics is the same thing as religion, all right? Mm-hmm. So, have I ever told you my funny way of how I'm going to pick a religion?
No.
All right.
Throw a dart?
No. No, it's actually much more than that. So I am very much agnostic. All right. Okay. I am all for organized religion. because it gives people a purpose and it gives people something like it gives people another group of people that they can connect with on a different level than just skin tone or whatever. But it gives
it's a network.
Yes. But for me, it goes with whoever proves it to me first gets my vote. So if it's the Mormons, I will pick up some extra wives. If it's the Christians, I will stop having fun. If it's the Catholics, altar boys are fair game. And if it is Muslims, you know, I might have to go to a suicide bomber training camp. Like, I am all for whoever proves it to me first. All right, I will crack jokes about all religions. It does not matter to me because in my eyes, and much to everyone likes to kind of argue this whole thing, I will literally joke about everything, which is why Marissa said I'd be a horrible politician but a great lawyer. Yeah. So she says I would be a bad politician because I joke about everything. They would have a bunch of dirt to bring up on me. What are you staring at?
No, I'm thinking you would be better at. Okay, so politician, I'll slightly disagree. You would be good as a congressman.
So
because you would be protected.
Here's the thing. The reason that she says that I would not be good in politics is because of my Facebook page and because of these conversations where I will make fun of everything and people will come after me digging up that kind of dirt. As far as a lawyer goes, they're already slime balls. Like,
Weapon.
He did kind of look like he was stroking out.
Yeah, well, because I was like, well, you wouldn't be a bad politician. You just be safer in Congress.
Well, I mean, could you? Oh, that would be great if I could just get go straight up to a seat in Congress.
Because then you'd be protected.
Bro, all right, so
you can almost say whatever the fuck you want.
Guys, I am putting in my name right now for the 2026 elections. Yes, 2026.
I'm not voting for you only because
wow. Damn!
Because you have not taken my side on this with Weapon. In fact, you've rallied him against me.
Uh-oh.
You fuck.
What have I not sided with you on?
Trying to fucking make a comparison, and you're saying, oh, you're siding with Weapon on, no, he's mixing metaphors. Like, motherfucker.
You brought up, well, Obama broke a lot of glass. Well, yeah, so did like the 13-year-old kids at the construction site.
I never liked you. Oh yeah, by the way, the mental bookmark on that was if I think it was Obama versus McCain in 2008. So it was Obama Biden versus McCain Palin.
I can see Russia from my house.
I know, right? I don't give a fuck if it was Palin or any other woman. All right, pick a fucking woman, but put her in place of McCain. Cool. Now you got two glass ceilings.
There you go.
Politics goes out the fucking window at that point.
Yes.
All right.
So
go
ahead.
What would you vote for? The most oppressed, okay, arguably the most oppressed race in history, if you count Jewish people, in that category. Most oppressed race in history versus currently oppressed gender. So it's like.
So we had this conversation with my friends and it came up with a Facebook post. But what if Trump, because of the way that kid balls across, yes, that story. So what if Trump
hang on.
What?
Anarch 39, thank you for the follow, by the way. Yes. So me and Doc are actually doing a dual stream. I don't have shout outs set up, whatever. Let me give you the link.
It's also on my thing, Darren. It's on both channels right now.
Okay.
Anarch. So we were joking about if, because we weren't sure if Hillary was going to actually try to run again or if it was going to be, somebody else, right? And just because of the whole mindset of, a man is no longer a man is a man, a woman is a woman type thing because gender is fluid, blah, 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 blah. that Trump should have just claimed that he was a woman his last day in office so that he was the first woman president as he left.
Oh, it's like a meme I saw about was it Caitlyn Jenner? Or whatever his/her name is.
It's Caitlyn Jenner.
There's a meme out there with him in whatever, in drag or in female attire, whatever you want to call it. And the meme read, how do you know men are better? We won Woman of the Year. I'm sorry, but that's funny. I'm all for the military humor.
That's beautiful. I am 100% behind that. But that's the thing, is that kind of a joke would lose me a political race.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are you stroking out again? You're even making the noises now.
I am making noises.
Someone clip it. I'm clipping this. Hold on.
Fuck off. I don't think that would necessarily make you lose a race. Okay, so when let's say you were to run and you have a history of doing these podcasts and you say stupid shit.
It's burnt toast, by the way, Alex.
Do I smell toast? Damn it, Alex. Don't do this. Don't take their side.
Alex, thank you so much.
You are not one of them.
Okay, we're just going to pause that and I'll go back to it later because I am clipping your stroke. But Anarch, thank you so much for the thing, and Alex, that's wrong chat.
You made me derail. Yeah. It was actually going to be a good point. So if you were to run for Congress or run for whatever political office,
all right,
and you have a history of doing these podcasts, everything but sometimes politics, where you say stupid shit. All right. First off, I'm pretty sure that there's prior military members in Congress or in Senate right now that have said or done stupid shit. Why? Because they were in the fucking military. All right. It kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah, but they don't come from California.
It doesn't fucking matter. All right. You don't give a fuck where you come from. You came from America. All right. So, enough said. I'm over it. None of you are on my side right now.
Oh, I'm on your side, Darren. I'm on the side of you that makes fun of yourself.
All right.
That's a thing. We both know it's a thing.
There's a proceeding now where you can have a better chance of being elected by saying stupid shit, though. That depends on how backed up that stupid shit is. If you say something stupid that has merit and it just happens to piss off a lot of people, that's not necessarily, that's stupid shit, but at least you can, back it up with information. I have no problem with people saying stupid shit. I don't have a problem with people riling up the chessboard. I don't have a problem with people trying to shake shit up.
Is that actually a saying, riling up the chessboard?
Yeah.
Anyone else ever heard that thing before? Or is Darren coming up with things during his stroke? Weapon, I'm looking at you. I love that. I love that you're just like looking straight at me through the screen. You know, we could actually have conversations like this if you wanted to, like face to face.
Oh, because my camera is not pointed a certain way?
No. I'm just saying that, like, you could actually turn towards the other way and actually have a conversation with me. I don't know. Is it showing up the same? Oh, it's not showing the same way. Oh, and he DC'd. Oh, never mind, guys. I would have. Yeah, that's the right way.
Yeah. Thank you, Discord.
Yeah, it's this way, right? That's how you guys see me. They have me on the other side.
Discord. I'm up.
Weapon says it's not. My mom said she's never heard of it. Riling up the chessboard.
But she likes it. So I don't have a problem with people shaking shit up.
I'm okay with this one.
As long as you can back up whatever stupid shit you said.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The funny thing is that these are your friends too. It's not like just my chat is going after you.
So going forward, this is going to be the Everything But Sometimes Politics featuring Dr. Seuss.
Oh, damn. Weapon, apparently there's been an opening in the podcast.
Wow.
No. I try to actually stay away from any of the
Yeah, go ahead.
Any of the transistor
I
jokes.
just remembered.
The transgender jokes or any of the multiple sex jokes. Not the actual jokes about sex because those are funny, but oh my god! Wow.
Nice. See, that's the shit I'm talking about. That's the shit I'm talking about.
Oh,
I love it. I love it. And that's the shit that would make people laugh too. Oh, he's losing it. He's losing it. Oh, you bring up cutting up the sausage, and Doc just starts fucking losing it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Katanas?
Choppy yo pee pee.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, professional wrestling reference.
Another point.
Yeah. That was a short and sweet one too.
I wouldn't have known that it was a wrestling reference until you brought up. You're just like, so just so everyone's aware, I have brought up wrestling again at least once. All right, Darren, I am going to use the restroom really quick, but I want you. I'm going to actually leave my headset on because I want to hear this, but I'm going to mute myself. I want to hear. Yes.
I got like maybe 10 minutes.
Why is it gym time again or something?
No, I'm actually so I'm progressing each week. This week was 4 days. Next week it'll be 5. But I'm going to try and hit the gym before the podcast.
All right. So
Joe and Sarah and his cousin are in town. They just went to a restaurant, and I've told them many times, I'm like, the podcast is from 4 to 6. And now they're saying we're at Chocho-san. I'm like, motherfuckers.
But no, I like I said, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, but I don't leave my headset on because I can do that with a wireless headset. But I want to hear, and this is me opening it up, and I will not add a point.
Okay.
Tell us about the Mortal Kombat synapse that you've seen.
Oh my God.
You're not leaving by 6 o'clock. I'll be back, guys.
No,
Darren, go for it.
All right. For those that want to know, Mortal Kombat 2021, it's coming out. If you're new to the fucking stream, there's very few things I have followed as a child. Mortal Kombat is one of them. I know that story through and fucking through. I'm a traditionalist. I get it. I'm going to overly critique it, but I'm sorry. I've shitted on this fucking film since day one. And I guess it was released in other countries. I don't know. And the Wikipedia has posted the plot of the Mortal Kombat 2021 film. Now, reading a plot on Wikipedia has never ruined a film for me. Throughout all the MCU films, I've read all of them before I saw them in theaters. It's never ruined it. The experience was fucking great. That's how good the MCU films are. But from day one, I said this is probably going to be, if you know nothing of the Mortal Kombat story, it might be good. If you do know, even from the MK9 game, which kind of retconned a lot of shit, then you might be a traditionalist like me, where you're going to say it's a shit film. And I'm going to try and do my best not to throw any spoilers out there, but it's already got a 50% Rotten Tomato rating. All right. Warning. Anything between 60 and 70, I kind of have to judge for myself. But below 60 or above 70, Rotten Tomatoes might be right. And this is a 50% Rotten Tomato rating. I've read the plot line. It's fucking garbage. There are things that happen that shouldn't. There are things set in certain time that shouldn't. that leave nothing to be explained, or little to be explained, I should say. And Weapon, a couple podcasts back, was saying, well, maybe it'll be good enough to where, they'll do another film and they'll sort of, like allude or you try and explain how that came to be. I'm sorry, there's things in this fucking film that no sequel is going to be able to replace. There's one thing that they might be able to replace, but no. That alone should make it good, right? No, the trailer looked great from day one, and I love how they go into the story of Bihan and Hanzo Asashi. But they even get that wrong, and they even added a little bit to that story that had nothing to do with the original. All right. May I join so I can properly concede that you're right? That's a dot call.
I would like to point out.
I'll take your concession in chat.
By the way, Mortal Kombat 2021, as of right now has a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's not helping. 10% don't mean squat when you've only released it in certain countries.
Here's the problem. You liked the first Mortal Kombat movie, right?
Yes and no.
Okay, it has a 43% rating.
Right. And one of the reasons why is there was a stigma going into it. So, like Mario Brothers, for example, all right? You're trying to make Mario Brothers a real fucking film. It's impossible to do. All right? It's like Sonic the Hedgehog. Impossible to fucking do. You were better off making it an animated film. All right? You get into something like Mortal Kombat, you could quintessentially make that a realistic film, but I've come for my lashings.
All right.
All right, I will go in a little bit of overtime to give you some lashings.
All right, come on in. We'll bring you in so that Darren can ream you.
Only if you ask for him.
Are we going to just mute Weapon when he comes in just so you can lash him without any interjections?
Okay, let me say this much. When does it come out? April 23rd?
Should I have no idea?
I think it's the 23rd.
Although, did you actually see Mortal Kombat Legends: Scorpion's Revenge?
Oh, that's what I was going to answer to your question. So, in answer to that question, no. After Annihilation, I almost refuse to watch any live action version of fucking Mortal Kombat because it's either super campy or they get it wrong.
Annihilation, by the way, has a 2% score.
Oh my god, Annihilation was horrible.
I don't even know how it has 2%.
Yeah. It shouldn't even gone straight to fucking VHS. The Mortal Kombat 1 film was dead on point to the story. Literally balls on point to the fucking story in every way. What they got wrong was the stigma going into it, and that was people were expecting gore. They were expecting blood and fucking fatalities and shock value shit. Yeah, April 23rd. Even Goro, which was from what I read the biggest mechanical failure of a Jim Henson style project. All right, the thing fell apart all the time. All right, even Goro looked good. And Kano, that actor, Trevor Goddard, set the tone of what Kano was going to be for not just the movies, but the games as well.
Yep.
All right. He did a fantastic job. The story was dead on point. It was the gore that was missing because they didn't want to make it a rated R film. Again, you can attribute that to studio intervention. I will one up this Weapon. I will give you lashings when the movie comes out. Because if I'm getting, for a comic book guy, if I'm getting your concession now, I know I would have gotten it on the release.
Well, here's the thing, is I tend to agree with your judgment of Rotten Tomatoes. What I was taking issue with is you were passing judgment on a trailer, and I have learned over the years that is a fool's game, because I will say this, and this has happened to me multiple times. Some of my favorite movies I thought had terrible trailers. Some of not only just my favorite movies, but some of the movies that many consider to be the best movies ever, some of the best movies ever made have had terrible trailers. Okay? Um but put that aside, like we knew nothing about it other than a few clips. But as the clips, more actual film scenes started to roll out, putting the reviews aside, to be quite honest, as the scenes of the movie started to roll out rather than just a well-cut trailer, I was starting to get a real sense for like the direction and the cinematography and the writing. And that's when it became apparent to me that, okay, this might not be so hot. But then, of course, the reviews, like you said, the reviews, you know, I'm kind of the same mind. Like I give the film latitude if it's like
Within a certain percentage.
between 50 and 70. If it's above 70, I'm probably gonna like it. If it's like 90, there's a very good chance it's gonna be a really good movie.
Yeah.
But if it's dancing around in the 40s or the 30s or the 20s, that shit is trash probably.
So
it's not worth my money.
To kind of correct you on that, it wasn't the fact that I was shitting, because I've always praised the trailer. The trailer looks fantastic. All the trailers look great.
Yeah.
It's just there's things that I was picking out as a traditionalist. Okay, so this is no news to anybody that knows the characters. Why is Cabal in the trailer? Cabal has nothing to do with it until the third Mortal Kombat film. As a matter of fact, he was actually a prior Black Dragon member, which is an Earthrealm association. Why is he with fucking Outworld? All right. I've just come to learn that Nathan Jones, a former professional wrestler who was shitty nonetheless, from what I saw, is playing Reiko. Why is Reiko there? Reiko's got nothing to do with anything. All right. Other than being a pawn for Shao Kahn.
We need to turn Darren down a little bit. He's getting a little too excited.
He's very heated right now.
For the people that are wearing headphones, rip headphones.
I'm getting
you have a limiter on your thing, right?
Sure. I'll try and tone it down. But okay, so Reiko, I might understand. Cabal, I don't. I will shit on that all day. Why is Natara? And I saw her in the credits from the very beginning. Why is Natara there? She only serves one fucking point and purpose. And if you want to put it in terms of context of storyline, it doesn't take place until like 20, 30 years after the first fucking Mortal Kombat. Why is she there? She has nothing to do with anything. All right. And those were things that I was picking out. Again, the things that I praised was the going into the backstory of Hanzo Masashi, Scorpion, and Bi-Han, the original Sub-Zero. I loved that they were going into that. As I was reading the plot line, there were things that were added in or changed that made it either very unrealistic or not true to the story. And I'm like, no, you don't fucking do that. Not to mention the fact that, and this is where you might have been correct, that if they were to do a sequel, you can retcon something by saying it was actually Shang Tsung or Quan Chi that did all that. Fine, I'd buy into that because that actually did happen. But
I don't know if it's so much that I thought that they could retcon. What I was getting at in the previous discussion was the same argument with the X-Men. You can't do an X-Men movie without Wolverine because no one fucking cares about the X-Men at that point, besides Wolverine, the first X-Men movie I'm talking about. So you kind of have to go, well, who are the most popular characters? How can we get as many asses in the seats so that we can franchise this and make a gajillion of them and make a bunch of money? That's what I was saying.
Anarch it was actually funny. RIP my headphones. No, I understand that, and like
we're mulching over the same shit at this point.
You could probably correct something in the sequel or try and add more context to the story in the sequel that was established in the first film. I get that, and you probably could have done that with Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, but there were things that were added, and I'm trying to do my best to not spoil the plot line. That were changed that completely ruin it, that have nothing to fucking do with it. And there are things that happen in that film that are that can't really be undone. One thing can be sidestepped. I can't really explain that.
So I would like to rename our podcast to Everything But Politics, but sometimes politics and wrestling and the home game and Mortal Kombat and Zelda and...
We actually haven't talked a lot about Zelda. So...
And...
But if they make a movie on Zelda...
Darren won't see it, but he will, but he'll protest heavily. Anyway, I'm here to accept lashings, not give out more.
No, I will not give you lashings until the film comes out. I am a fair man at best.
I'm just saying the movie's probably not going to be good.
It's not.
But let's hope it makes a bunch of money because maybe they can improve. And again, jobs get made.
No.
These people are job creators, man. I thought you were a Republican. Don't you like that?
Scrap all of it and forget it ever. Just release it, get it out, and like a really bad one night stand, just forget it ever happened. All right.
Nope, sorry, man. That one night stand's gonna have your child, and it's gonna be coming around forever.
And you have syphilis,
or it's gonna be a plague on the industry.
There it is.
No, the way you should do a Mortal Kombat story is compartmentalize the stories. Do Sub-Zero versus Scorpion. You can introduce the Lin Kuei and other Lin Kuei assassins like Kuai Liang, the future Sub-Zero. You can introduce Smoke, Cyrax, Sector. Then you can go into Hanzo Hasashi and his backstory and why it is they have a rivalry.
Actually, you're probably right. They're probably trying to do way too fucking much in one movie.
Then
10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
You could do Sonya versus Kano, and the Special Forces only has 2 members at that time, Sonya and Jax. But the Black Dragon, you have Kano, Tremor, Kira, Cobra, Jarek. You can introduce all of them. Then you can do Liu Kang versus Raiden. Liu Kang trying to prove his worth as to why he's Earth Realms champion.
You know, I don't even know half of the characters you just listed off. Because I stopped playing Mortal Kombat at 2 or 3.
But you can compartmentalize all these films and then bring them together into Mortal Kombat 1.
I'm pretty sure MK2 or MK3 was the last Mortal Kombat I actually played.
Games?
It was on the Super Nintendo.
The last Mortal Kombat game that was released on Super Nintendo was MK3, Ultimate MK3.
So probably MK3.
Probably MK3. Because Nintendo 64 only had 2 games. One was Mortal Kombat Trilogy and MK4.
You know, I don't know how you actually get a Mortal Kombat game to work on an N64 controller. Like, there are just not enough buttons.
It kind of works. It kind of worked on the N64.
There's just not...
It was way better on the PlayStation, don't get me wrong.
There's just not enough buttons. And it's like, even the PlayStation, like, you can actually do some stuff with the PlayStation, because you can actually do, you know, you have 8 buttons at least, right?
Yeah.
But N64 had what? 5?
No, they had way more than that. They had the left side joystick, they had the middle joystick, which was kind of useless. But then they had the 4 buttons on the right, and then they had 2 additional buttons on top of them, and then you had what would be the equivalent to Z buttons and left and right triggers on the PlayStation. They had the same thing.
But the thing is, you can't hit trigger if you're using D-pad.
If you're using the middle joystick, no. But you never use the middle joystick.
Oh, no, you can hit trigger with the middle joystick all day long. You can't use it when you're using the left D-pad.
But no, you don't use the underneath button at all. That's why.
That's dumb. Anyway, I just wanted to see you rage and possibly stroke out again real quick before we ended today.
I won't have it. I'm glad that I've read the plot to it, because if I didn't, I might actually have a stroke, throw something, or toss my monitors across the room.
See, I would have paid to see that.
A bit of rage.
I would have subbed just to see that.
Bad this motherfucking director and screenwriters have ruined, once again, a favorite story of mine. Like they did Venom.
I think he's having another stroke right now. Darren, do you smell burnt toast? People were asking. I'm gonna take that as a yes. All right.
I think he's dead.
I think he died. Darren, it is always a pleasure to have you in here and chat with me and all this other stuff. Mr. Creation, thank you for coming in and avoiding your lashings for now, but at some point you will receive...
As a result of your humility, it won't be 5 lashings, it will be 1.
Thanks.
So you're only going to like whip him during one of the podcast and not 7?
No, I'll just give him one good one. Like once, I'm just gonna make it count.
I think my overarching point still matters in that you gotta remain open-minded.
I want
That's
to
all.
sonogram that scar I leave on your back. Done by Darren.
You mean like the scar across the chest of Sagat?
Yeah, that'd actually be a badge of honor.
Yeesh.
Really? To be like hit in the chest repeatedly and then just uppercutted straight through your rib cage?
But saying Hadouken or Hadouken as I do it.
It's a Shoryuken, you uncultured swine.
I don't know. Again, I don't know that much about Street Fighter.
Oh.
But you brought up the Sagat reference. I'm like, okay, I can roll with this a little bit.
No. Thank you for trying.
A little bit.
Thank you for trying. Again, Weapon, thank you very much for coming in and accepting the lashings that have not been brought to just yet, but we will get to them eventually. Before everyone goes, you sent me the message. I was in there for most of it. Grats on keeping people in there the other night, Weapon.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, good job, man.
Thank you. I did screw up, and I would like to apologize right now that I have a captive audience. I did not pay it forward. I totally spaced. It was 1 a.m. I was tired. I was trying to get to bed. I didn't raid somebody else like a moron, and I had like 20 people.
Yep, I went back and I noticed that, and I'm just like, you could have... Even art by Jim. Like, that dude's awesome.
I know. I've been chatting with him, too. I totally should have done that, and I just wasn't thinking, and I'm not in the habit of it yet. I'm still learning, and I thought about it. I was laying in bed trying to sleep going, shit, I should have raided somebody. I felt bad about it. I laid in bed for like 45 minutes thinking about that shit.
You're like, shit, I could have still been streaming.
I gotta take off. I'm gonna go ahead and raid Brenna.
Yeah, I think... How many people are you... Yeah, I think we have the same people on Brenna right now. The thing is, we just raided Brenna. I would actually like to raid one of my followers. I think I'm going to raid Shilly, since I have never raided them, and yeah, I just think it'd be kind of fun to raid someone I've never raided. A little bit of a smaller streamer. I don't think they even came in today.
I'll keep it community, so we'll do separate raids this time. Thank you, everyone.
Yep. Thank you, everybody. We love you, and have yourselves a good day. I will be back on Monday.
Thank you.
I will give you your sonogrammed lashing in next week, actually.
Sounds good.
Are you going to see it on opening night?
I don't know.
Maybe you can come in and heckle me while I stream,
I'll just say, damn it, Andrew, every single time fucking something happens.
Sounds good. Have a good day, guys. I'm out.
Later.
Later.
Bye.